guys, it's Will and Sam here, and we're back with another game of 40k.
Another one.
Another one, yeah. We feel like we're veterans of this edition now. It's about a month in, and we're getting used to it.
So I've racked up over 10 games now. So
and I'm on about 5 or 6. So yeah, it's good. It's good. So what you brought tonight then, Sam?
well, I brought Necrons, but I brought half of yours.
Yes, so Sam is starting a Necron army, but to get some practice in, because he's got a tournament at the weekend, he's borrowed a bunch of mine to practice with. So he's got about 1,000 points of his Necrons and 1,000 points of my Necrons, and they're up against the Bieltarn Eldar.
Yeah.
Oh yes, all the aspects.
War in Heavens replayed.
Yes, a very, very old rivalry here. So yeah, should make for a good game. Not done Eldar Necrons yet. An army that can dish out the pain, and an army that can certainly take it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
You've got 40 warriors plus immortals and death marks. You've got a lot of infantry for you to deal with. But yeah, without further ado, it's going to be a 2,000 point Maelstrom of War mission as usual. Let's take a look at the armies. So here's Sam's Necrons, his first time ever playing Necrons tonight, and some of these models may look familiar because they're actually my Necrons. He's borrowing them to give him a go, but the blue tinted guys are his. So starting down here, we've got his Overlord, War Scythe and Resurrection Orb, and then his Cryptek, which is actually my Cryptek with the Staff of Light. And that is 2 HQs because he wants to do a battalion detachment with this. We've got Lich Guard here, 5 of them, sword and shield, and 5 Canoptic Wraiths, as you can see, the old school Wraith models, because that's how long I've had this army for. We've got 20 warriors and then 2 units of 10 warriors, and we've got a Night Scythe. 10 immortals with the Gauss blasters, 6 scarabs, 10 death marks. I've never faced off against death marks before or played them, so it's going to be interesting to see how they do. And then 2 annihilation barges. So that is 2,000 points of Necrons. And here's my 2,000 point Eldar list. This again, as last time, is going to be a Vanguard and an Outrider detachment because I just don't have enough troops to make a battalion. So starting off here with the Vanguard force, so this requires 3 elites and an HQ. So here is my Warlock, just a basic Warlock with a Witchblade. And then for my elite units I have a unit of Wraith Guard with the Wraith Cannons, 5 Fire Dragons with an Exarch, 10 Striking Scorpions with an Exarch with a Scorpion Claw. Backing them up, I've got 10 Dire Avengers, Wave Serpent with Bright Lance, Shuriken Cannons and Crystal Targeting Matrix, Falcon with Bright Lance and Crystal Targeting Matrix, and a Wave Serpent with Turret and Underslung Shuriken Cannons. Then for my Outrider detachment, so this is the one that requires a lot of fast stuff, got my Farseer. He's going to be my Warlord, and he's got a Singing Spear. 2 units of jet bikes with Shuriken Cannons. I am so glad that I magnetised the weapons on my jet bikes back in 7th. 2 units of striking, not striking scorpions, Warp Spiders, both 5 strong with Exarchs, and then 6 Swooping Hawks, and the Exarch there has a Sun Rifle. So that is 2,000 points of Eldar. So for the mission tonight we rolled up Deadlock, so 6 objectives in the first turn and gradually decreasing. And the deployment, as you can see, is Hammer and Anvil here on this rather cool looking city board here at 40k Gaming. I finished deploying first, so should be getting the first turn. Got my Farseer and jet bikes behind here, sheltering behind the building and the tanks. The Wave Serpent there with the Wraith Guard, Falcon with the Fire Dragons, and the second Wave Serpent with the Dire Avengers to the front because they can soak up a lot of firepower. And got my Warp Spiders hiding here and in here. In reserves I've got my Swooping Hawks high up in the sky and my Striking Scorpions hiding somewhere. Incidentally, my Warlock is going in that Wave Serpent there with the Dire Avengers. Sam's army is being led by his overlord down here, and he's got his Cryptek and his Lich Guard hanging out with him. Annihilation Barge on each flank, with a big block of warriors in the middle looking to come forward and claim that objective, while a smaller blob holds that objective and this one here. Scarabs over there, Night Scythe right at the back. He should have some Wraiths. Oh yeah, there they are. Wraiths hiding behind the building, good choice. And in reserves he's got the Death Marks hiding in the ether, and the Immortals back on the Tomb World ready to come in through the Night Scythe's portal. So it should be a nice, good game on this board. Should make some interesting visuals, I think. Anyway, Sam, would you like to seize the initiative? No, you would not. Eldar, turn 1. So, Eldar first turn, and with the Necrons being a bit out of range, I pushed almost everything up, which turned out to be a mistake, because I was actually holding behind enemy lines among my 6 cards, but forgot about it, and ended up with only this Warp Spider unit failing to make it out of my deployment zone. I actually drew Advance as well, but used a command point to discard it, because I thought, no, I want to keep my tanks back to shoot. But then when I actually got round to moving, realised I needed to move them forward. So, yeah, that's some pretty bad opening play there from the Eldar. I infiltrated my Striking Scorpions over the back there, which were instantly countered by the Death Marks, and I lost 5 of the unit, and then a further 2 to morale at the end of the turn. But it did score me behind enemy lines, just. These 3 units here, the Falcon, Wave Serpent and Warp Spiders, pushed up this side, but only managed to kill 4 of the Necron warriors from that unit, not even enough to force a morale check. In the Psychic phase, the Farseer had doomed that Annihilation Barge there, which did originally lead it to take 9 wounds before he re-rolled his Quantum Shielding on the hit from the Wave Serpent, changing that to only 4 wounds taken or 5 wounds taken rather than 9. So yeah, that Annihilation Barge hasn't even suffered too much in the way of damage. That was the Wave Serpent and these jet bikes that did that. And these jet bikes were just out of range, but killed one of the Scarabs. In the assault phase, attempted to charge my Scorpions into the warrior unit at the back there, but unfortunately had a really poor assault roll. So yeah, things not looking so good for the Eldar right now, but it's still early days. I've got to discard an objective, and I am going to discard... I've scored behind enemy lines, and discard Defend Objective 2, because that's in his deployment zone. Alright, so 1 point to the Eldar as we go into Necron, turn 1. So, the Eldar may have overstretched themselves in turn 1, because the Necron counterpunch was really quite effective. So this warrior squad moved up round this flank, Barge lined up some shots in here, Wraiths rocketed forward, Lich Guard and Overlord came forward, second Barge came up, as did the the Death Marks, while over at the back the warrior squad over there lined up to execute the Scorpions, which they did. They killed them, that's first blood. Night Scythe came down here and killed most of the Warp Spiders with its Tesla Destructor. Firepower from the warrior squad in the middle, the Death Marks, and no, the warrior squad in the middle and the Annihilation Barge killed, oh, and the other Annihilation Barge over there as well, I think, killed all of the jet bikes from this squad, and the Wraiths proceeded to assault the Farseer, who'd already lost a wound from the fire of the Death Marks. They put another 3 wounds on him. His Warlord trait saved his butt there. He would be dead without that Warlord trait. He didn't do any damage on return, but he is free to just move off as normal next turn because he's a flyer. And over this side, this warrior squad had a really good turn actually, killed a bunch of the Warp Spiders and then charged in to finish them off for only 1 casualty from Overwatch. So yeah, nasty turn. I've essentially lost a jet bike unit, 2 Warp Spider units and my Scorpions, so really good start for the Necrons. Points wise, he got Supremacy, First Blood, behind enemy lines, and secure objective 5 over in the back there, so he's taking a good lead there. Did you roll D3 for Supremacy? I only got a 1 for that, so that by my calculations, is 4 points to 1 as we head into the second Eldar turn. So this turn really wanted to counterpunch and do a lot of damage, so all my transported units disembarked. Dire Avengers got out here, Fire Dragons and the Warlock, and over this side the Wraith Guard. Left my Swooping Hawks in reserves because I couldn't see a good place to put them down where they weren't just going to whiff and then die next turn, so we'll come back to them next turn, I think. In the Psychic phase, the Warlock casts Conceal on these units here, well, on himself, which then is a 3-inch bubble, which is now only affecting the Fire Dragons because the Dire Avengers moved away. Farseer attempted to guide the Wraith Guard, but failed, but did cast Doom on the Wraiths, I think it was I cast Doom on. And then in the shooting phase, Fire Dragons went for the Annihilation Barge that was here, but only did about 4 wounds. Quantum Shielding is so good against melter weapons, it's just, yeah, Quantum Shielding is definitely a good thing. But the Dire Avengers had much better luck, being only 1 damage and having that -3 AP if I get a 6. They went through it with relative ease, actually. I then wanted to finish off this Warrior Squad, who'd only lost 2 models to the fire of this Wave Serpent. Exarch killed 1, and I killed 1 more with the squad when I charged in, but it still wasn't enough to force a morale check. And they didn't do any damage on the return, but half of them are potentially going to get back up next turn. Over on this side, the Wraith Guard suffered from the same inability to hurt the Annihilation Barge as the Fire Dragons did, only putting a couple of wounds on it. And everything else decided to shoot the Wraiths because I didn't really want to get countercharged. Did manage to kill 2 of them with the combined firepower of the Jet Bikes, Wave Serpent and Falcon. I had pulled these models here back to hold the line, but then didn't really have anything to take out the Doom Scythe, the Night Scythe, which in hindsight I really should have focused on, because I also had Big Game Hunter, and Annihilation Barge doesn't actually count for Big Game Hunter. So what I scored was Scour the Skies, and I'm still holding all of this. I'm going to discard Psychological Warfare because I don't think it's going to be very easy to force Necrons into failing a leadership test. But, you know, we've counterpunched quite hard. We've taken out some of the more deadly units, like that Annihilation Barge over there. Wraiths are weakened, but it's still looking pretty tight here. On to Necron, turn 2. Necrons continued to press their attack this turn. The Immortals disembarked from the Night Scythe, ready to threaten the Farseer. The Night Scythe itself flew off over here, and the Lich Guard pushed up through the building towards the Fire Dragons. The one surviving Annihilation Barge went backwards a little bit, and the Deathmarks pushed up though, threatening the Farseer as well. In the shooting phase, the Deathmarks put another wound on the Farseer, but his Warlord trait saved him, but not in the assault phase when he was charged by the Immortals, who had previously taken caused a few casualties to the Wraith Guard, and then, yeah, charging on the Farseer eventually killed him, but only just. His Warlord trait must have added about 4 to his wound value there. Other than that, the shooting wasn't too great, but it was the assaults that did the damage. He did kill a few Fire Dragons over there with the shooting from the big Warrior Squad in the middle. And 4 of those warriors reanimated to help the fight with the Dire Avengers. The Wraiths pulled off a charge on the Falcon, but only did 2 wounds to it. And the Wraith Guard took a couple of casualties in combat from the Scarabs, who managed to pull off the charge. And then over here, lost 2 Dire Avengers to the recently reanimated warriors. And the one Fire Dragon that wasn't already dead from shooting died in combat with the Lich Guard, who then consolidated into my Warlock. They had My Will Be Done on them this turn to make that charge a little bit easier for them, and the +1 to hit in combat was rather handy as well, because they actually had a pretty poor to hit roll, but My Will Be Done mitigated some of that Points wise, Stam scored a whole bunch. He got mission critical objective with his Warlord. He had score marker 6, which the Wraiths got. And just trying to remember what the other ones were. Marker 3 over there. And Assassinate, which obviously got for my Farseer. And that also would have got him Warlord. So, nasty, nasty turn for the Necrons. I'm really on the back foot now. But we're not going to give up now. Eldar, turn 3. Not a great turn for the Eldar. I drew Domination this turn. And the other 3 that I was holding, Big Game Hunter, Kingslayer, and Hold the Line. While not seemingly difficult, there were things stopping me from doing all of those. But I brought my Swooping Hawks on, didn't forget to bring them down. And their combined firepower of them, the jet bikes, the Wave Serpent, who fired off his shields this turn, and the Wraith Guard, who'd walked out of combat and can shoot when they walk out of combat, killed 6 of the Immortals. I then tried to charge the jet bikes at them, just to see if I do some extra damage, but failed the charge. They passed their leadership, of course, because they're Necron Immortals, why wouldn't they? Over here, the Falcon moved out of combat, and the Falcon and the Wave Serpent, as well as the surviving Exarch, tried to deal with this, but some pretty poor to hit rolls let me down, and I think I did a total of nothing to it, past all its saves from where it had one. The Bright Lances didn't even connect. And over here in combat, the Avengers didn't manage to do anything to the Warriors, despite there being a Power Glaive in there. And the the Lich Guard cut down the Warlock. So yeah, pretty brutal turn there. Nothing really working the way it should have done. Really only casualties being in that Immortal unit. So yeah, didn't score anything, and I'm going to discard Domination. And we go on to the Necron third turn. Turn 3, and the slow but unstoppable advance of the Necrons continues. He got a Immortal back there from Reanimation Protocol. Lich Guard pushed out of the building, ready to charge the Avengers. Night Scythe went over the back there, and the Wraiths jumped over the building, over the Warp Spider Exarch, ready to take on the Swooping Hawks. In the shooting phase, the surviving Immortals almost wiped out the jet bikes, leaving me with just a single dude on 1 wound. The Death Marks and the Warriors over there killed off the last of the Wraith Guard, which freed up the Annihilation Barge to shoot the Wave Serpent, but the Wave Serpent passed all its saves. It wasn't so lucky in the assault when the Scarabs got in and put a few wounds on it. What else happened? Over here, the Lich Guard ran out of the building, charged into the Dire Avengers and killed 4 in total. I did kill a warrior in return and did pass my leadership, but yeah, things are not looking good for the Eldar. He did only score a single point, overwhelming firepower for wiping out the Wraith Guard, and then he forgot to charge with his Lich Guard. But by the time we remembered, it was way too late and he's massively ahead, so we didn't worry too much about that. So yeah, things looking pretty good for the Necrons, but the Eldar will go down fighting. Okay, 4th Eldar turn, and I was really trying to clear my deployment zone, because one of the few objectives I might be able to score would have been Hold the Line. So just to clear off the Wraiths and the Immortals. But Immortals in cover are so hard to kill. They're going up to a 2+ save, meaning that anything that doesn't have really a high AP just bounces off them. The Hawks killed one with their grenade packs and shot another one, and then the combined fire of the 2 Wave Serpents and the Falcon and the jet bike killed another couple, bringing him down to just 1, but he passed his leadership and the rest all get to reanimate next turn. Other than that, anyone that was out of line of sight for them, so I think the underslung cannon from the Wave Serpent and the Warp Spider Exarch fired for the Wraiths, but didn't achieve a lot, to be honest. And over here in combat, I killed 1 more warrior with my Dire Avengers before they were cut down by the Lich Guard. So another really good turn for the Necrons, to be honest. Stuff is just not dying fast enough, and I'm getting overrun. But here we go with a 4th Necron turn. Okay, so the Necrons continue to press their attack, combined firepower from the resurrected immortals. Yes, they're back to 4 of them. 5 of them, sorry, gained 4 back to bring him up to 5. The Death Marks and the Annihilation Barge wiped out the Swooping Hawks. And then these guys charged into the Wave Serpent and put another wound on it. And over here, the Lich Guard and Warriors, between them, combined shooting and assaults, put 6 wounds onto this Wave Serpent. And at this point, it's end of turn 4. I'm down to a jet bike, an Exarch, 3 damage tanks that don't seem to be able to do anything. My dice have been a little subpar, and Sam's got pretty much his whole army bearing down on me and a massive points lead. So yeah, we're going to call that a Necron victory. Thanks for a good game, mate, and we'll see you guys in a second for the post game. Right, so an absolute drubbing for the Eldar there. Solid victory for the Necrons. Well done, Sam.
I say we didn't even count the points up. I think I was in the 15 mark.
And I had about 3. So yeah.
I mean, I won't say anything for the game. I mean, it was fun enough for me, but you were getting a bit diced.
I was, you know. I don't like to moan when I get diced because I know I also get some really jammy luck at times. But the dice let me down. But there were some tactical mistakes as well.
Yeah, I mean,
in hindsight, I should have let you go first.
Maybe. I don't know. Necrons seem very powerful to me, with all the weapons having AP at least -1. Like even a warrior having AP -1.
Yeah, so I've heard rumblings on the internet the Necrons aren't very good now, but I think they've still got it.
Yeah, I mean, like the Decurion style of Necron's probably not as good, but if you're running like infantry heavy, I found in this edition infantry heavy works a lot better.
I think, yeah, particularly for armies like Necrons, whose infantry can really benefit from cover and just generally don't want to die. I mean, those immortals, those immortals.
The thing is, last time I played your Necrons, you like butchering mortals, and then they'll just get back up.
Yeah, well, it's not even the getting back up. The 2-up save in the cover.
Yeah, Craters are really good for that.
Yeah, and cover on units with a 3-up armor save is really good. Back in the day, never used to worry about putting my Space Marines in cover because it's like, well, we have a 3-up anyway. What's cover going to do for me? But now it's all about it.
Yeah, I'm wondering with the indexes, are we going to get more access to AP available weapons?
I don't know.
Because at the moment, it just feels like the Necrons. I mean, every time you roll a 6 pretty much in your Eldar, you get AP ridiculous.
Yeah, so. With all my shuriken stuff, yeah, and my death spinners. But I think seriously need to change up the Eldar list. I had too many points invested in anti-tank units.
Anti-tank doesn't work against quantum shielding.
Yeah, so I probably would run either the Fire Warriors or the Wraith Guard. Probably wouldn't.
Fire Dragons.
Fire Dragons. What did I say? Fire Warriors. No, definitely wouldn't run Fire Warriors with my Eldar.
Yes.
But no, I'd either run Fire Dragons or Wraith Guard, and then free up some space to actually put my a second unit of Avengers. I'd like to get some Guardians because they do what Avengers do at a much cheaper rate, but at the moment I've got too many other projects to start building models right now.
Yeah, so we'll see. The Necrons should be 2,000 points of my models, not too long. When I've got some money, I've got a holiday, so I'm going away for a week. So
cool.
We'll see how much money I've got after that, and then dump a load on Necrons.
Yeah, say you've done 1,000 points in a week, so you know, give it another month, you'll have
4 days, but yeah. It's Necrons, they're not exactly hard to paint.
Well, that depends how you do them.
Yeah.
You want to edge highlight everything on Annihilation Barge, that's another matter entirely.
Your Necrons do look better than mine. Like, your Necron vehicles are really nice. Mine are a bit dry brushed.
Yeah, well, you win the games though, so you know, and dry brushing is a good technique for getting an army done quick, so
yeah,
you can't complain.
I'll definitely focus down your Eldar until that Space Marine Codex comes out.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the plan. Try and get good with what Eldar I've got until the Marine Codex drops, and then it's all about the Salamanders. I'm really excited to give the Marines a go, and also very excited for our top secret project that we will be announcing in a couple of days.
Is it days?
Well, we're not playing it for a month, but I'm going to announce it soon because I know people want to see it.
Cool.
Awesome. I'll catch you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.